Right. Take it away, Ed.
All right, very good. I see 48 participants now. That's fantastic. Welcome to you all to the 42nd Annual General Meeting of the New Canadian Centre. My name is Edward Klusterman. I am the chair of the board. And it's been a pleasure to work with the team at the New Canadian Centre. I extend a warm welcome to all of you tonight, and it continues to amaze me with Zoom fatigue how many people show up at events. I keep hearing about Zoom fatigue, yet I'm wondering whether Zoom fatigue might just be a fake news story. But it's great to see you all. Thanks very much for joining us. A little bit of housekeeping first. This meeting is being recorded. Please, through the meeting, Zoom yourself if and when you want to vote on a motion or move or second a motion. Please just wave your hand, but put it right in front of your face so we can see. I've seen sometimes where people are waving out to the side, but that doesn't work out so well. Keep your video on if you're comfortable. And Sabina is monitoring the chat, so you can post in the chat at any time if you need to ask a question. So Andy has provided a link, I believe he just said in the chat, to the meeting materials if anybody needs to look at that. Tonight I'm very pleased, and I believe we're very fortunate to welcome Ann Taylor from Curve Lake First Nation, who will give the territory acknowledgement. Ann, welcome.
Miigwech. And Miigwech Angela for asking me to be a part of this. So I'm going to introduce myself the traditional way, and then I'll talk a little bit about land acknowledgement. So in my culture, this is how we introduce ourselves to people that are new to us. And I'll explain a bit more after I introduce myself. So, Wewena Bojo, Anin, Mong Kwan Dishnakas, Nagig Gani Dodem, Shkigamong Donjaba, Michisagi Anishinaabe Kwandao. When I say Wewena Bojo, I'm honoring my elder brother, Nana Bojo. And when I say Anin, what I'm saying is that my spirit light recognizes your spirit light. Oh, my screen went blank there for a minute.
Hi, everyone.
And I gave you my spirit name, Mongkwan, which translates to loon feather. I gave you my Dodem. I'm of the Otter clan. And when I mention the Otter clan, what I'm doing is I'm honoring my father's lineage, or my grandfather's lineage in my case. When I tell you I'm from Shkigamong, which is our word for Curve Lake, I'm honoring my mother's lineage. And I told you that I'm a Michisagi Anishinaabe woman. And we introduce ourselves this way because what we're doing is we're building relationships between us. And it's good to know who you're building that relationship with. So now you know that I follow the teachings of my elder brother, Nana Bojo. You understand that I am spiritually connected to you. You understand that I follow my Dodam, my clan, and I follow those teachings that go along and the obligations and responsibilities that go along with carrying that. You understand that I'm connected to my mother, not only my physical mother, but my spiritual mother, the earth. And you understand that I'm a Michisagi person. And what that does is places my people on the land, particularly at the mouths of the rivers that flow into the northern shores of Lake Ontario, because that's where we tended to build our camps, hold our ceremonies, bury our dead. That's where the fish was. So that's where we built our fishing weirs. That's where the medicines were. So we gathered our medicines there. A lot of our food was by the water. So we lived by the water, and that was also our highway. So land, even in introducing ourselves, is very, very present. When we talk about land acknowledgement, most of the time treaties are mentioned. And in this territory, the Williams Treaties of 1923 are mentioned, and that is largely for benefit, settler benefit, because that's why that treaty was signed. That was for settlement of the interior of Ontario. Treaty 20 also must be mentioned. 20 was signed in 1818, and it was between two nations. It was between our First Nation, Anishinaabe, and the Crown. The government to government treaty. In that treaty, it recognizes our inherent right within a certain area to gather, hunt, trap, and fish without any sort of anybody stopping us. So we mention those treaties, they're important, but what often isn't mentioned is our connection to the land, our spiritual connection to the land and the water. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged at each and every land acknowledgement. For our people who lived so closely on the land and on the water, we were a part of life, and we continue to be. So we understand the connection that anything we do to the land, to the water, to the air affects us on a very, very basic level, all of us. And when I say all of us, I mean all of those spiritual beings that share this land with us. The ones that fly, the ones that crawl, the ones that swim, the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, all of those that make use of our mother, the earth. We have to acknowledge that we are a part of that whole system. It's a holistic way of seeing things, and bringing the spirit of the water, the spirit of the land, the spirit of the air into the conversation is something that needs to happen. To this day, go out on the land, when we go hunting, we offer tobacco to the land as a gesture of giving thanks and appreciation for what the land gives us back. When we make our kill, if we're hunting deer, or if we're hunting ducks, or if we're trapping, when we make that kill, we again offer tobacco for the life of that being that has so generously given up its life so that we can continue our lives. When we go on the water, before we even if we're just going on a short canoe paddle up the lake, we still offer that tobacco to the water for safe passage. When we're fishing, we again offer that tobacco for a successful fish catch. So that's still a really big part of our culture and our heritage. And it's important that we acknowledge that. It's important that the people that settle in this area understand that we have that connection. All of us have that connection. We are all connected spiritually. We're all connected by the land. We're all connected by the water. We're all connected by the air. And so when we get up in the morning, the thing we do oftentimes is we have a drink of water, or we brush our teeth, or we take a shower, or we make our coffee, or we do our laundry, or whatever. It involves water. So we need to think about that in that land acknowledgement. We need to think about what a blessing it is for us to have that clean water. Many of us don't. Even in this country, in Canada, many of us don't have water that we can drink. We'll have to bring in bottled water. So it's important to give thanks for that every morning when you're using that water. when you're washing your face, brushing your teeth, drinking your coffee. Think about that water and what it has given you. Think about where that water has come from. One of the teachings that we've been taught is that that water is the very essence of our life. And so to leave the very essence of life out of a land acknowledgement is a tragic mistake. We need to acknowledge that water itself is very blood of life. It's the same with the land. When we think of everything that the land provides for us, it provides the materials for our homes. It provides the food that we put on the table. It provides the clothing that we wear. It provides the medicines that we use in our daily lives. It provides so much for us. And all that's asked in return is that we treat the earth, the water, the air with a degree of respect. And that's what land acknowledgement is for. It's paying respect to this place that we are blessed to be living in. It's paying respect to the people who were here first, who took care of this land for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Canada has only been settled since the 1600s. And in that short time, look at the devastation that has occurred in this country. All you need to do is look at the tar sands, the fracking, water pollution, all of that. That's all happened since the 1600s, largely since the last 50 years, in the last 100 years. But when we put that land acknowledgement in our thoughts, it reminds us that we are responsible, that we are obligated to take care of the land, the water, the air, not just for ourselves and for those other spiritual beings, but for the generations that are still to be born, those ones that are still coming. That's why we take care of the land. That's why we have beautiful organizations like the Race Relations Committee. That's why we have this. This was foreseen. And this is why we have been provided this space. This is why we've been able to come together today to talk about this and to acknowledge this. And so I'm asking humbly that moving forward every day when you get up, think about that. Think about the water and the land and the air and everything that it provides for us. And think about how you relate to those spiritual essences. Think about your place on the earth. Think about your connection to each and every spiritual being that shares this planet with us. Think about those ones that haven't been born yet, and how can you provide a safe and peaceful place for those ones that haven't been born. Think about your place in that. And that's part of the land acknowledgement. I think I've probably covered everything, but it's very important that we think about those things and take them to heart. Even if you are a newcomer to this country, even if you have just moved to this country, it still is upon you to acknowledge the blessings that this land, water, and air give you every day. I think if we have that in our thoughts throughout the day, then we can't help but be a better global citizen, and we can't help but be a better person, and we can't help but grow spiritually. And then what happens is there's a shift in the paradigm of our thinking. The part of who we are, that thankfulness becomes a part of who we are, and that changes us as a being. It elevates us. So the next time you do a land acknowledgement, remember those things. Even if none of this is mentioned in the land acknowledgement, now you have the information and now you understand, I think, a little bit clearer what a land acknowledgement should be about. And so think about those things when you hear a land acknowledgement, because many, many places just offer land acknowledgements as a box that they can tick off. Yep, we've done that. Okay, let's move on. But if you think about it and take it into your heart and take it into your spirit, then it becomes a part of you. And you share that knowledge then with other people, other meetings you go to where there are land acknowledgements, and you get the opportunity to talk to people, tell them about that, tell them that they need to take this into consideration every time that they're talking about land acknowledgements. It becomes part of your bundle now to carry forward and to share with people. And that's what knowledge is for. It's for sharing. And so this knowledge I humbly share with you. And this knowledge comes to me from elders that I spend time with, people that spend time on the land, and knowledge holders that I am so very fortunate to spend so much time with, and who have been so generous in sharing their knowledge with me. So now I share that knowledge with you, and it becomes yours to share with other people. And again, I want to say Chimigwach Angela for inviting me for this. And I hope you have a good meeting, and I wish you all the best, and please stay safe. And hopefully we'll be out of this hardship within the next year, maybe. But please stay safe and enjoy your meeting. And if anybody has any questions or any concerns of anything I've said, I'm sure Angela can share my my email contact, and I'd be happy to discuss with you. So again, miigwech, and have a great meeting. Go up, man.
Thank you, Anne, and may you stay safe also. We are truly blessed to live in this land, in this area, in this country. And thanks for sharing that with us tonight. Keep well.
Okay, bye now.
Bye. All right. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. The agenda was included in your meeting package, and we have a motion, be it resolved that the agenda of the AGM of 2021 be approved. Do I have a mover for that? Okay, I see Elizabeth, and seconded by Saji. All in favor? That's passed. Thank you. How can I see everybody at once? How is that going to be possible? Just 1 minute. I need to make that bigger. Okay. That's better. Okay, motion number one. Then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of last year's annual general meeting, the 2020 AGM of the New Canadian Centre. Be it resolved that the minutes of the AGM of 2020 of the New Canadian Centre be approved. Do I have a mover? And I see Raman, and a seconder for that motion. Maybe somebody's got their hand up, but I don't see it.
So Angela
Okay.
is there, Maslow is there. I can
Okay.
help you with that. If you want, I can see the people if you want
Yeah.
help you.
I only see so many at a time here, so. Very good. We've, all in favor of the motion? That is passed. Thank you very much. Okay, at this point then I will introduce to you Raman Wojcicki. He is our treasurer this year, and he will walk you through the rest of the next little bit of this meeting, and introduce the auditors to you and the financial statements. Welcome, Raman.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Ed. Can you hear me? Okay. At this point, I'm the Raman Wojcicki, and I'm the treasurer of New Canadian Center and the Board of Directors. I would like to introduce you to our auditors for this last fiscal year, which is Jason and Katie. And now they will present you our audited financial statements for last fiscal year. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask myself or them directly.
Thank you, Raman. I assume everyone can hear me, and if not, I'll get a bunch of waves, I'm sure. I've forgotten to put mute off in the past. So as mentioned, my name is Jason Becker. I'm the audit partner at BDO here in Peterborough, and I've been assigned to the New Canadian Center file. We were engaged to audit the financial statements of the New Canadian Center for the year ended March 31st, 2021. And I believe they're being pulled up on the screen, and as well, a copy of the financial statements were included in the AGM materials. Our reports, which is on the screen right now, is on pages 2 and 3. And I'm not going to read this word for word, but a couple highlights from our report. Management is responsible for the financial statements, and that includes the design and implementation of an internal control system that appropriately captures and segregates the financial information and safeguards the center's assets. Our responsibility as independent auditors is to audit the financial transactions for the year and then provide an opinion on the financial statements. And we do that in comparison to the accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations in Canada. So with the full cooperation of management, we conducted our audit testing remotely this year due to the pandemic, and we worked through that in late April and early May. And I'm happy to report that we found the financial affairs of the New Canadian Center to be in good order, and it is our opinion that the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. So I don't propose to go through the statements in a lot of detail, but I will conclude with a few financial highlights. Maybe if we could pull up and get page 5 included on the screen. So page 5 is probably the main statement of focus in any given year, as this is the statement of operations for the year. And as you can see, revenue went up by almost 200,000 in fiscal 2021. And that was primarily due to a fair amount of grants and funding related to COVID relief and those pieces. And you see the fundraising and the donations line in the revenue section didn't decrease very much. But what has happened in the underlying numbers there is that there was a shift from fundraising to donations. So again, the pandemic kind of put a stop on having events and fundraising, but as is normal for our Peterborough area, being very generous, the donations and assistance came in that way. As would be expected with an increase in revenues, there was an increase of expenses, but they rose at a slightly lower rate. So you see for the year, there was a surplus of $63,646. And if we could actually backtrack the screen to pages 3 and 4, yeah, there. So on the statement of changes in net assets, it's not as clear, but you kind of can see that $63,646 surplus, approximately 10,000 of this was reinvested in capital assets, and this is equipment, computer equipment, those types of assets, which will allow the New Canadian Center to continue operating in the future. You'll see 45,000 was transferred to the internally restricted reserve fund, and again, that is setting aside money for the future. And then about 8,000 was carried forward in the unrestricted fund for to fiscal 2022. And so if you focus on the statement of financial position, which is on the screen, page 3 there, you see that at the end of the year, New Canadian Center had $489,094 in net assets. And these are available for future use. And the majority of it is in that internally restricted reserve. And then also on this statement, about 5 lines up from there in the deferred revenue section, you'll see there's $335,854. And again, deferred revenue is similar to net assets in that it is funding that has come in that is available for the future use. And I think that's the extent of what I was planning to go through. So in conclusion, I would say that it's fair to say New Canadian Centre is financially healthy and is well positioned to continue providing the valuable services to our community in the years to come. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to entertain.
I don't hear any questions, Jason. Thank you so much for being here today and presenting the financial statements as part of our annual general meeting. Thank you, Jason and Katie. And be it resolved that the financial report and audited statements for the year ended March 31st, 2021 be approved.
You moved that, do you, Raman?
Yes.
Okay. And a seconder? I see Saji. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you. And Raman?
Yeah. So, be it resolved, now is the time to appoint our auditors for the next fiscal year, which is our recommendation is the BDO. So be it resolved that BDO is appointed as auditors of the New Canadian Centre for the fiscal year 2021-2022. I move that motion.
Okay, thanks, Raman. And do we have a seconder for that?
Angela.
Angela, very good. All in favor? That's passed. Thank you very much. Okay, then we move on to the next item on the agenda, the bylaw amendments. So we have a few minor housekeeping items and a few amendments to the bylaws again this year. Minor changes were recommended by the board to clarify that the board and committee meetings are valid when held using alternative meeting methods other than in-person meetings. And then some clarification around board oversight of committees. You have all received this ahead of time. Are there any questions on this? If not, then I will read the motion. Be it resolved that the recommended changes in the bylaws are approved as outlined in the document included in the AGM meeting package. Do I have a mover for that one? Elizabeth, thank you. And a seconder?
Mr. Chair, just one
Yes.
point. I see a date, May 27th, 2020. Should that date be May 27th, 2021 on that document?
I believe you're correct. Good catch, Marcelo. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Andy will make that change to 2021. And that was moved. And did I get a seconder yet? I'm not sure that I saw that. Sajid, do you see anybody putting their hands up?
No, so far, so I can.
Oh, there's Steve, moved by, or seconded by Steve. Thanks very much.
And I saw Fabiola too.
Okay, all in favor then? That is passed. Thank you very much. Okay. At this point then, 7, 8. Okay. we'll just have a little update from myself as chair and then as Andy. It's been a very challenging year for all, very difficult on so many levels for so many in our community and throughout the world. With hope and vaccines and dwindling case counts, we look forward to progressing beyond this situation. Through a challenging year, the New Canadian Centre has continued to provide programs and services to the newcomers who rely on us. It has been a year of learning new ways to meet and communicate with each other, new ways to deliver programs and services, new challenges of working from home, and new practices and protocols. Overall, the NCC is weathering the pandemic storm well, thanks to support from our funders, staff, and volunteers. The NCC Board of Directors extends our deep appreciation to our staff and volunteers for their adaptation and for their initiation of new programs and projects, and for all their work furthering the mission of the NCC. We recognize the generosity of all those who have stepped up with unceasing support for our aim of empowering refugees, immigrants, and other newcomers and helping them find belonging in our community. We thank our community partners and all those individuals and families who have helped with funds or with their time. We thank our funders, namely the federal and provincial governments, the City of Peterborough, United Way, Community Foundation of Greater Peterborough, Royal Bank Foundation, and the Lloyd Carr Harris Foundation. I want to express my thanks to my fellow board members for sharing your time, your wisdom, and your collaboration. Thank you to Saji Ravi Manusero, Marcelo Sarki, Elizabeth Rahman, Angela Connors, Fabiola Carrasco, Rob McDonald, and a big thank you to those board members who will be retiring from their service to the NCC. We wish them well and hope to see them again. They are Lise Alcancer, Raman Vachesky, Rebecca Tripp, and Steve Curtin. Thanks so much, all of you. Thank you also to community members who have volunteered on committees. Ponvali Ravindranathan, Wilco Overink, Jennifer LaMantia, Gabrielle Zay Abransky, Don Barry Merriam, Darcy Bonner, Carmela Valles. Thank you so much to all of you for making the New Canadian Centre what it is and doing all that you have done and continue to do. Andy, I ask you then to share a few words with us.
Great, thanks, Ed. There's no question this was a challenging year for NCC and also for the newcomers that we serve and newcomers in general in Canada. We're starting to see the research that's painting a picture of the impact of COVID-19 on newcomers, especially those who've arrived more recently. And we know that that is more significant than the general population. Thankfully at NCC, we've had a stable year. We've had a year that we've been able, with the support of our funders and volunteers and community partners, that we have been able to, and particularly with the support of our dedicated staff and volunteers, we've been able to continue to be there for the community that we serve. And really, this has allowed us through a challenging year to nonetheless be a solid foundation of support for the newcomers in our community. Over the year, a few different themes have emerged for us in doing our work. Social isolation, digital literacy, and digital access really emerged as the biggest themes for our team over the last year. And we've worked hard to help our clients and community overcome these challenges. I want to just go through a little bit. I'll spend a few minutes, if you'll indulge me, just talking about some of the challenges. Honestly, I could talk for a couple hours about all of the amazing work and projects that have gone on over the last year. But I'll go through some of the team and work that we've done. Our case management team. So this is Kemi and Madi, Salwa, Liana, Samar, and we had Noor with us until the end of the calendar year. They work closely with folks who came as refugees, and they've supported the arrival of several new refugees to our community over the course of the last year, as well as supporting the ongoing needs of many other individuals and families. With accessing services and special support programs, you can imagine how challenging that was for folks in that situation with all the various public health restrictions and difficulties in accessing services. and Kemi and her team are right there to support them. Our settlement workers in schools team, working with families and youth. So that's Jess and Nervine and Steve and Maria and Lubna and Janine. And we had a beer with us until recently she moved to a role with Peterborough Youth Services. They support families with difficult transitions in the school system. You know, it's challenging enough during a regular time for someone coming here and understanding the school system, both the kids and their parents. Imagine that during a pandemic and navigating all of those transitions from in person to online and protocols and all of that. So they've been there supporting those families and kids and youth. Janine is our childcare worker, and she's been providing in person when we can, but also has developed and been delivering a really great online preschool program. And Lubna, who's been working closely with youth, she switched so smoothly from our in-person programs to really enhancing our social media offerings, as well as a special program we ran last summer called Family Literacy in Peterborough, providing some social and language support to some specific newcomer families. Honestly, again, I could go on. I'm just choosing a small snapshot of some of the work. Community connections, you know, that social isolation piece is high in our minds. How do you get to know a new community and make friends when there's limited volunteer opportunities? Arts and culture is totally closed. A lot of that comes to Anne Elliott, who many of you will know. You would never believe that Anne works part-time at the NCC. She has helped us smoothly transition many of our offerings very quickly and successfully, in most cases, to online. So our English conversation classes and groups, women's groups. We've had online celebrations. Some of you, I'm sure, were at our winter celebration in December. We've really done what we can to move things online and provide social and connection opportunities for folks. Our settlement services, this is a real core of what the NCC has done since it was, for many years. And so Faye and her team with Carolina, Lucifelia, Patricia and Andrea, they, you know, as many challenges as that we have faced at the New Canadian Centre, the federal government and all of their programs and systems have also had a lot of change. Those systems and processes for people to navigate how to come to the country, completing different tests and documents and medical exams, all of that has changed a lot and been challenging for people to navigate. And Faye and her team have been there supporting people to try and keep up and get along and through those IRCC systems during the pandemic, while also running workshops and supporting tax clinics. We've run 2 different tax clinics during this year. You know, the pandemic hit and that was right before tax season. So Faye and her team have been there supporting people with all of those processes. We have a strong and committed volunteer base, and Sarah, our volunteer administrator, has been supporting that throughout the year. Our main volunteer activities of Canada Day and refugee support teams have been dialed back as a result of the pandemic, but nonetheless, our volunteers have made a major contribution supporting with a lot of our online programming, as well as tutoring and directly supporting the newcomer families that they're connected to. Our work around workplace integration and employment with Javier and Olga and Sabrina and Reem, who left us in December. They work with employers, they work with people seeking jobs, they connect people with jobs and with supports and skill building that help them get jobs. That team has been growing in the past year, and one of the special projects that they delivered, speaking to that piece around digital literacy and digital access, was to deliver a computer training program in partnership with PACE ESL program to give some computer skills and physical laptops to a number of different newcomers, as well as, and Olga's at the, you know, so many stories around the NCC come back to Olga, and she's touched so many lives, including helping nearly 70 newcomers find employment in the last year in the midst of a pandemic. Community development and fundraising, Yvonne, Bisham, Paris, and we had Carol with us until the fall. Sharing stories is such a huge part of what the NCC does in our community, and that team takes the stories and it turns them into magic that makes its way around our community and impacts so many different lives. They've done an incredible job in telling different stories throughout the pandemic, as well as different programs. Our Canada Day programming went entirely online. Our Living Library series has been delivered online, as well as through a podcast forum in partnership with Trent Radio. Just a few examples of the innovative ways the team has has adapted and switched to our current context. In terms of that donor connection, we're grateful for the more than 350 donors that we continue to connect with and who continue to provide us with support over the last year. At the foundation of all of this, and last but certainly not least, our admin team has had an incredible year supporting all of what we do. You know, imagine everything from providing people with laptops, helping them continue to work, cell phones, remote access to files and servers, changing payroll systems and timesheet systems, and all of that to different ways that can happen remotely. The admin team really is the foundation for all of our work, so they deserve special praise as well, and that's Violetta and Sabina and Zabiba and Adriana. So thank you to them as well for all their support over the last year. I want to say a special thanks as well to the team that I work very closely with that provides leadership at the management level within the organization, Marisa Kazmarzik, Violetta Rusinova, and Yvonne Lai, and to thank them for their leadership of the organization during a challenging year, as well as for their support to myself and their camaraderie. Ed has mentioned the board members. It's not easy to be on a board, especially during a pandemic. So I really admire our board for their commitment and support over the past year, and to Ed in particular for his steadfast support. He's never, I don't think I've heard a word of a complaint ever out of Ed's mouth. And, you know, thank you, Ed, for being there constantly and ever willing to put the time in that's needed. That's a look, you know, to the past year, and there's obviously lots that's gone on. We're also looking to the future. We're in the midst of a strategic planning process. Our public survey was launched yesterday. I hope you will have received it in your inbox, and I encourage you to please take a few minutes to complete that and let us know your thoughts on what we're doing well, what you think we could do better, and help us to plan for the future. I would like to turn now to our volunteer and community partner awards. This in the past has been something that's been part of our AGM when we were able to do it in person. We had a special presentation at our staff meeting last week where our staff presented these 5 awards to these very worthy recipients. And I'm pleased to share the winners of those awards with you now. And I'll just say a few words about them. Our volunteer of the year for Peterborough is Cassandra Lee, who I think I saw come into the meeting. I hope you're here, Cassandra. And a newcomer herself, she's facilitated weekly art groups for children and youth over the past year and is working with our team to create a children's book, which tells the story of 6 newcomer youth. And we're really excited to launch that in the fall. So thank you, Cassandra, and congratulations on this award. Well deserved. Our next award was the Volunteer of the Year in Northumberland, which has been awarded to Marta Sofia Reyes, and she has volunteered helping other newcomers like herself with tutoring and preparations for citizenship tests. She's also been a performer at our Canada Day activities and other NCC events. So thank you, Marta, and very appreciative of all that she's contributed in the Northumberland area. Our Youth Volunteer of the Year award. One of the initiatives that I didn't mention, again, there's too many to go through all of them, was our NCC Young Leaders Council. So this is a group of young people that came together to support their peers in different ways. Aya Daruba, Preshta Garg, Ian Nazario, Lujena Kamar, Samuel Musa, and Shirsa Hearn worked closely with one of our staff members, Lubna, and provided online support with homework and peer mentorship, as well as developing a guidebook for how to support newcomer youth. And they actually were able to present that to the separate school board and are hoping to for that to be spread widely in the fall. So thank you to all of them and congratulations to them. The next award is our Becky Rogers Community Partner of the Year. Some of you will have known Becky. She was a City of Peterborough employee and a strong supporter, former board member of the New Canadian Centre, and deeply involved in the Peterborough Immigration Partnership. She passed too soon, and we named this award in her honor. This year, we presented the award to the Happy Wanderers tax volunteers. So I mentioned earlier the tax clinics. It's challenging to get tax documents for ourselves together. I'm sure you've all experienced that when it comes to this time of year, and you kind of panic and wonder where all those documents are. Imagine being new to the country and trying to navigate that, and it's in the middle of a pandemic. These folks from the Happy Wanderers do this as volunteers, supporting different groups and individuals around the community. Faye and her team work closely with them to support the tax clinic shortly after the pandemic hit in 2020, and then again this year. And really, that filing of taxes is really important for some families that rely on the income supports that depend on filing of the taxes. So really made a substantial impact on people's lives. So thank you to them. And lastly, but certainly not least, the Dindin Villarino Community Partner of the Year for Northumberland. Like Becky, Dindin was a strong supporter of newcomers in the Northumberland area and of the NCC, and passed too soon. And we have named this award in her honor. And this year we have given the award to Durham College Community Employment Services, based out of Port Hope. They have supported with their services many newcomers in their region to find employment and gain skills so they can get employment or improve their jobs. More than this, they are a great partner and create a very welcoming environment for newcomers to receive their services. So those are our award winners, and we're so grateful to all of them for all that they've contributed to the NCC and our mission over the past year. And I've spoken for long enough. I think I'll pass it back to you, Ed, and thanks everyone for being here tonight with us.
And thank you, Andy, for your leadership and guidance of the organization in the last year. We do appreciate it. Now we'll turn it over to Rob McDonald. He is the chair of the recruitment committee, and he has a overview and a report to give. Welcome, Rob.
Hello, Ed. Hello, everyone. I was the chair of the recruitment committee this year, and I'd just like to go over that process here. So we advertised widely with our usual social media and our newsletter. We received a high number of applications this year, many more than in years past. There's a lot of very strong candidates. I've got some highlights from the candidates that we've chosen here, and I'm just going to go through those here. So new board member Ghada Hussein came to Canada from Egypt in 2012, is a former client of the NCC and is currently a professor at Fleming College. Petra Kukaka is an immigration and education professional with 15 years of experience in the nonprofit and community services sector. She is a licensed Canadian immigration consultant, holds a master's degree in development and communication from York University. We have Simon Liston. Simon is a family, and his family immigrated from Ireland and Jersey. He has a master's in education. Simon had a long career with the Toronto Public Service as a manager, developing affordable housing and establishing programs to alleviate homelessness. And we have Emilio Ojeda, is originally from Venezuela, graduated with a business administration and also has majors in commercial sciences and business management. He's a trained chef with George Brown College. He currently works as a settlement services coordinator in the County of Northumberland and is also presently a school board trustee. If those new board members just want to unmute yourselves and say hello just for a second.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Ghada Hussein. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you, Andy and Ed. Yes, I think you said it all, Rob. I am a professor at Fleming College, but more importantly, I am a newcomer myself. The NCC, when I came, were a great help to me. They introduced me in the community, helping me to make Peterborough my home, which makes me thankful for the land, water, and air as I'm sorry, I forgot the name. As Ann Taylor told us today. And so, yeah, I'm very thankful to have Peterborough my home. Thank you.
So I'll go next. My name is Petra, and thank you for that introduction, Rob. And it's a pleasure to be here. You also covered everything on my count. And I think most importantly, I just wanted to share, I'm an old comer to Canada. I came, my parents brought me when I was very little, when they were fleeing Eastern Europe at the time. So looking back now, I think I can say that that was a relatively formative experience for me, and I've always sought opportunities to become involved in welcoming and creating a more welcoming Canada. I am relatively new to the Peterborough area, so this is a really exciting opportunity for me to contribute what I know and what I can and get to know the community even more.
Simon?
I can go now. Hi, this is Emilio Ojeda. I moved to Canada in 2007, and I'm probably one of the newest additions, Canadian additions to the board. And this is something that is dear and hard for me as an immigrant and also working on the sector. And it's I feel like it's an honor that I've been chosen to be part of the board. I had the pleasure to work with a lot of the personnel of New Canadian Center. A lot of meetings and great enthusiasm that is always I'm always looking forward to. So thank you so much, and looking forward to the future.
Thank you, Emilio. I think Simon's microphone's not working. You mentioned earlier, unless that's changed. Okay, so we'll just move on then. Thank you, everyone, for that short introduction, and glad to work with you on the board here. So the next step here is to introduce the motion. Ed Klusterman and I are being re-elected to the board. This will be the start of our second term. So the motion reads, be it resolved that the following individuals be elected as board members for 2-year terms: Gada Hussein, Emilia Ojeda, Edward Klusterman, Petra Kukaka, Simon Liston, and Robert McDonald.
I see Raman moving, or yeah, Raman moved, Saji seconded. All in favor? That is approved. Thank you, and welcome to the 4 new board members. Looking forward to working together with you. Okay, and thank you, Rob, for your work on the recruitment committee, and Saji too. I know you had work involved in that too. Thanks very much. Motion to adjourn, be it resolved. That is it for our business meeting. We are going to, let's just close this off with a motion, and then we'll turn it over to Andy, and he will introduce the next speaker. But be it resolved that the 2021 AGM of the NCC be adjourned. Moved by Fabiola and seconded by Rob. All in favor? That's approved. Thank you very much. Andy.
Thanks, Ed. And well chaired. That was very smooth. We're exactly at 6 o'clock, which is what we had scheduled. So to the minute.
Well, you timed it all. You scheduled it all. You had it all figured out ahead of time, didn't you? Thank you.
It actually went to plan as planned.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to turn it over to Faye, who is going to introduce Miguel Hernandez, who is here to tell us a bit about his story. So over to you, Faye.
Thank you, Andy. Hello, everyone. So I'm Faye Tan, a staff member here at the New Canadian Center. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you our special guest speaker for today, who is a wonderful friend of mine, Jose Miguel Hernandez Villarino. I've known Miguel since he came to Canada in 2014. We met here at the New Canadian Center and we quickly became good friends. It is very easy to love being in the company of Miguel because Miguel is fun, he's optimistic, and just full of imagination. It's like being in Disneyland. There's a lot of positive energy when you're around Miguel. Of course, Miguel's journey in settling here in Peterborough, Canada, has not always been easy. Underneath his outward personality of positive energy lies a strong, determined, and compassionate individual. Miguel has the natural ability to see the beauty around him, even through difficult times. And these traits are very much reflected in the art that he produces. One such significant art piece is the colorful mural in front of the NCC office, as you can see here on your screen. Miguel painted this piece right at the beginning of COVID last year, when Ontario first announced a province-wide shutdown. Although our office has been closed to the public, some of our staff continue to occasionally work from the office. It has become a very quiet place. However, for me, this piece of mural is a sign of hope and togetherness. With its vibrant colors and beautiful landscape, it gives me hope that we will pull through these difficult times and that we can all finally be together again in person, just like these happy animal friends going on a road trip across Canada. So thank you, Miguel, for brightening up our space and bringing hope and joy through your art. We are very fortunate to have you here with us in our community. May I now invite our very talented local artist, Jose Miguel Hernandez Villarino, to share his story with us. So over to you now, Miguel.
Oh my God, Faye, what did you just do? I wasn't expecting that, so thank you very much for that introduction. I think you have pretty much said it all. I said I wasn't going to cry, but now I think I might have to. So hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Miguel Hernandez. My full name is Jose Miguel Hernandez Autorino. But in Canada, since I came, everybody called me Miguel, and Miguel it is for the rest of my life. And I'm happy that it is that way. I have to thank the NCC for this opportunity, but especially Bisham and Yvonne for making me part of this, for passing the invitation on to me. It is a long journey since I first came to Canada. It's going to be around 7 years ago. I first came in 2014, but I'm going to try to summarize it the most because it has been full of ups and downs. So I'm going to try to explain in the most concise way that I can. My goal, I finished university in 2012 as an industrial designer back in Venezuela. And my goal was to move to Canada since I already had family here that would welcome me and be part of their lives. Well, that was the plan. I came with a student visa, but little did I know that because of the limitations in my country, I was not able to go to school here. The money I needed to go to school wasn't approved, so I came with no money and no future, pretty much, because of the politics back in my country. So I came to Canada in August 2014. I think it was August 18th. And my uncle, who lives here, brought me to the New Canadian Center on August 19th, like right the next day. And I think it was the best thing he could do for me as my family, because even though he lived here, he didn't understand what I was going through. So becoming part of the New Canadian Center gave me hope and made me realize that I was not alone. And like me, there was so many people going through so many different immigration processes that at the end, we are all different, but we all suffer the same things in a way. So what the NCC brought to me at that time was hope. It gave me the chance to know my rights. It gave me the chance to know people. It gave me the chance to build community, not just among Canadians, but among immigrants, which meant the world to me.
one of the first things that happened within the Canadian Center was that I was able to join the English classes. When I came to Canada, I had a little knowledge of English grammar, but I had no clue on how to speak it. So I was so fortunate, and I'm so happy that she's here tonight, that Diane was my professor. I fell in love with Diane. I fell in love with the classes. I felt at home again somehow. I found friendships and I found connections and I found an amazing way to be part of Peterborough as my new home. Then, and I have to thank Susan as well, that was pretty amazing teacher. Then I started to hear things called volunteering. Coming from Venezuela, we don't volunteer. That doesn't exist. It's like, volunteer, what do you mean? Like giving all your time to something for what, right? So I found that interesting. And at the beginning, I loved it. I became part of the Canada Day celebration and a few other events within the Canadian Center. But it wasn't until today that I finally, like the recent times when I finally understood the power of volunteering. And I'm so grateful to be able to be part of volunteering, because it's what builds community. It's what Canada is made of, and it's what makes me the proudest man in, like, at this time of my life. I would say that maybe 60% of my time I volunteer not only to organizations but to people who really needs my help. So it doesn't matter what you are, it doesn't matter who you are, I will help you without expecting anything back. Because by being here all by myself and struggling so much in so many ways, life has given me, in a way, little angels, I call them, that protect me anywhere I go and help me everywhere I go. So to me, NCC represents that to me, like that place that helped me and allowed me to be here where I am today. So for now and forever, thank you. Immigration process and finding jobs, to me, as I mentioned before, immigration processes might be different for everybody. Some might be easy, some might be not too bad, but I consider myself that I had a really, really tough immigration process. And sadly, maybe because I didn't belong to a country that was in extreme chaos, even though it was, but politically it wasn't, or because I wasn't prosecuted for my sexual orientation, even though I was escaping from my country because I wasn't able to be openly gay. And it's not that anybody would kill me for being gay, but I would lose opportunities for being gay. I will be discriminated for being gay. I will never be able to have an open family, to be able to love somebody and to be able to even marry somebody. So in a way, I was escaping from that. And at the time, that wasn't enough for me to become a Canadian or a permanent resident. So I won't get into it, but I consider that my immigration process was a little complicated. And back home, we kind of say something like a saying, like an idiom, and it says something like, when you're trying to avoid your destiny, the ways you are taking are going to lead you to it faster. So what that means in my case is, all my life, I love art. I went through all the camps, I went through like all the sports, and I couldn't fit anywhere. But the art school was my place since I was a kid. But somehow it was always diminished. It could only be a hobby. You cannot live of art. Art is not the way you have to go. You have to go to university, you have to do this, you have to do that, but never art. What happened when I wasn't able to do anything in Canada because I wasn't allowed to work? Art was my salvation. Art saved me since day one. I could have taken drugs, I could have taken bad choices, but art was the way I took. And thankfully, I am here today because of art. Maybe since 2014, sorry, 2014, I discovered the art school of Peterborough as well. And between the New Canadian Center and the art school, that meant the life to me. So between those two places, I became who I am today, a part, like an active member of Peterborough and the community itself. Let's fast forward to last year. Last year, COVID came. Surprise. So I was able to manage somehow. I wasn't able to get my papers until 2018, late 2018, like November 2018. So I was finally able to work. So I started looking for jobs and whatever. And because I have been so long without practicing my career, I was obsolete. But I was in the serving industry and I loved getting to know people and connecting with the community. And I became like part of the community and I was happy to do that, but always art on the side and art on the side. I will do my job in the morning, but art on the side. Then COVID hit, I lost all my jobs. And Yvonne sent me an email one day out of nowhere. Hey, Miguel, would you like to paint a mural for the New Canadian Center? I'm like, okay, I would love to. What's it about? So we met and chatted about it. And we came up with this idea because it was close to Valentine's Day when we talk about it. And kids have just written letters to Canada. And I fell so in love with that idea. And Yvonne and I came up with that concept. Why don't we write a love letter to Canada? And it's like, oh my God, like that's so amazing. So I have to represent everything that Canada means to me in one painting. Is that even possible? So the whole idea was to bring hope, light, joy, to make people feel welcome, to make people understand that everybody is welcome here, to talk about the diversity, to talk about community. So that mural represents all that to me. That mural gave me the opportunity to speak. It gave me the opportunity to thank Canada and the New Canadian Center for all the things that, even though it has been a hard road, I'm in a better place than I have ever been. I was finally living my life and I wanted to celebrate it with you and to bring happiness and to bring joy and to make people understand that art is all about that. Bringing emotions, celebrating life, and enjoying who we are. So thank you, Yvonne, for that. And I still hope that we can get together and celebrate the painting of the mural. That was the goal. Paint the mural. Then COVID came, nobody at the office. Marisa and Faye mostly, and Sabina as well. Like that was my crew. Every day, good morning, and we will have so much fun. And like we decided on colors together, and why not? Some few decisions we made together, but it represents hope, dreams, and the home for the newcomers. So I hope you guys enjoy it and take advantage of it because it represents a lot to me. Then COVID never went away. And we are still with COVID. So I never had another job. And it started to resonate in my head. Like I keep looking for jobs and I keep applying for jobs and I get nothing. Not even an interview. So this was March, then April, May, June, July, August, September, all that time without a job. I got depressed again. I went through counseling and everything. And then in September, I got a job offer. I won't say the company or what I was doing, but it was killing me. It took me around 2 months to realize that I needed to quit. And the trigger was, so luckily I have the most amazing husband in the world. and he's super supportive of me. And one day he sent me a note wrapped on my fork for lunch. So I'm having lunch. I'm going to have lunch, open up the fork, and there is this note that says, "You are the light. Remember that and never lose it." I broke out and cried and cried and cried in the middle of the lunchroom with all the manly men. And I said, you know what? Like, this isn't for me. I can't do this. So since that day, I quit. And decided to take art full-time as my full-time job. I think still today my family judge me on that. It's like, what the hell are you doing? How are you going to lose the job that is secure for something that is completely random and not secure? And my answer was, and it still is, if my heart is happy and my mind is in peace, money will come. So, and that's my message today. And that's what I hope I become. Somebody that people can look up and say, he did it, then we can do it. I'm not only facing the fact that I'm gay and discriminated and blah blah blah, all that. I'm also facing the fact that I'm an artist, and then again, like, it's not an easy thing to do, but I will be able to get through it and celebrate it in the near future. Ever since I made that decision, my life has changed. I changed not only my decision, but my mindset. And I started thinking positively. And I started making decisions from gratitude instead of from resentment. And ever since that moment, I haven't stopped having commissions. I haven't stopped selling my pieces. I haven't stopped having shows. I have painted a few murals other than the New Canadian Center. So I'm super happy that I made the decision, and I'm super happy that I'm here tonight and I'm able to not only share my story, but also, and this I do it personally, please support local artists. Not only me, but all the local artists that are out there trying to make a living out of it, because it's not easy being a creative, and we have so much to say, and we have the audience to listen to it. So just take a look around, look at art, admire art, and just support. That's all I'm asking for today. Now, lastly, but also as important, a couple months ago, out of nowhere, I got another email from Yvonne asking me if I wanted to be part of the Newcomers Leadership Group. I'm like, what the hell is this? No idea. Like, Newcomers Leadership Group, I get it from the title, but what is it going to be? What are we going to do? Getting the invitation was super exciting because it's still COVID time. So it's finally time to meet new people, to interact with people, and to somehow give back to the community. And it was the most amazing 8 weeks. Not only I met amazing people, but I think the most important thing that happened on that 8 weeks is that I met myself even more. I knew more about me, and I was able to identify kind of my superpower. All my life, I have been pushing aside the fact that I am a sensible man and that I believe in emotions, and that my feelings is what motivates me and what moves me to live. But all the time, it's like, no, it's not okay to cry. No, it's not okay to be emotional. No, it's not okay to express those feelings. And through this group, I understood that being vulnerable was simply my superpower. Then showing myself the way I am, it's what's going to get me through and what's going to take me to the next step in life. So Thank you again to the whole group. I met amazing people. I think more than people now, they are a close group of friends, and I'm so proud of that. And I think Peterborough and the community should be ready, because we are coming up with some amazing things in the near future. And before I say goodbye and pass it on, and anybody have any questions, I'm more than welcome to answer them. But I have to say thank you, honestly, to Yvonne. She hasn't been mentioned tonight too much, but I will be the one bringing her up. I know she doesn't like to be the center of attention, but I certainly feel that you have been my fairy godmother, looking after me. You have my back, and I'm pretty sure that everybody feels the same way about you. So thank you, and keep doing what you're doing. You are amazing. So forever gratitude and forever grateful for all the opportunities. And thank you to the NCC. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Miguel, for sharing your story with us. And thanks very much for the art that you share with us. We do hope we can all get into the office and see it sometime soon. But it's there for a long time for us to enjoy, and we thank you.
My pleasure.
Well,
thank you very much.
Yes. That brings us to the end of the business meeting then. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for helping make the NCC what it is. I do look forward to gathering together in the future, and I am confident that next year we will be able to gather together in person. And until then, that's a long time away, but in the meantime, keep well, everybody, and we will see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later. Keep well. Good night. Those of us board members are going to click in the next link and join back for our first business meeting. Thanks very much, all. Keep well.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you, Miguel. Take care.